All right, so your boy definitely needs a haircut. Look at this, man. Okay, so I want to take a quick, a couple of minutes to sort of introduce myself to you guys and tell you a little bit about what I'm planning on doing on this site. So, so I'm Christian, by the way. So I wanted to introduce myself to the YouTube community and hopefully get some people to join in and subscribe on my channel and all that stuff. So I wanted to start making some videos, to touching the sort of day-to-day basis with, the political world and everything that's happening. I mean, of course, we're living in very strange times, and I feel like now more than ever, it's good to sort of build a community and have people to, to get involved in whatever way you can. I personally myself, after okay, so I wanted to, state my politics out there, plainly for everyone to understand and know what my purpose is for doing this. I am, my aim is basically to sort of push a progressive agenda. When it comes to sort of my, ideals, I'm very sort of, I'm all for universal, basic income, healthcare, universal healthcare and all that stuff. But the point of starting this is sort of, kind of expand on it, with me kind of, putting my sort of thoughts out there, allow them to sort of build, and, build more congruency with, what might be good for us going forward and sort of hopefully, start a dialogue with, build some kind of community. So of course I'm very new to this and, I just, if you happen to come upon this video, I will appreciate if you guys can subscribe to it and, leave comments and stuff like that. So, we can kind of, begin this, an open conversation with, where you are right now. I, myself volunteering for the Bernie campaign, it was, it's a little bit heartbreaking to see where we are. And, because just last month, beginning of March, things were looking very different. And, just to sort of see where we are now or, where we could have been. With now Biden being the presumptive nominee, it sucks because we know a lot of, people that sort of, live in this kind of, in this sort of ecosystem of politics and stuff like that we've been following. For the most part, we know what his politics are, from back in the 80s and 90s and pushing, he's very conservative, his records are very conservative. So, whenever he says things like, he's planning on being, I think it's a statement that came out just about a day or 2 days ago. He's planning on being the most progressive president since, FDR, since Roosevelt. So, we take those words, with the, skepticism. But I feel like at this point, we, our leverage is to, was Bernie Sanders and the fact that, he's no longer the nominee or he's no longer the, a Democratic candidate. He's, now we have to sort of reassess and see what is best for us moving forward. And, a lot of people have sort of, taken the DSA route. I myself, just recently joined, our local, DSA chapter here in Broward. And, I'm trying to get myself involved as much as I can because, the goal does not change. You know what I mean? Maybe the sort of way to go about it now has to be reassessed and see how we can, maybe, go about getting to that end goal. That at the end, what we seek to get from this doesn't. We are still sort of, at least me, myself, I'm speaking, when I'm being plural right now, I'm referring more to my personal views, but I also want to include those, that view themselves in the left spectrum as far as, your ideas and your politics. But yeah, no, we're trying to sort of, get towards that sort of, society that takes care of those less fortunate among us. With building on policies that sort of covers those less fortunate among us. So like I said, just want to start this to sort of very kind of raw, just let things out there to the public. So I'm not sort of. I don't want to say I want to I have like just this video, I want to be very open in general with what I'm talking about. So I have no particular topics that I want to cover. So I want to just kind of throw it out there. And as I start making more videos, I'll be more sort of, focusing on key issues, that are particularly going on today. But so yeah, no, like going back to that conversation, I think, a lot of people are sort of talking about, voting third party and kind of going, with the green, the Green Party candidate. And I don't, I personally myself don't know how sort of feasible that is. What can you get from that? That being said, like, we have to sort of push them and, even threaten to that we're not gonna, we're not gonna vote for them because, we view them as being very conservative and we view their policies as wrong. And I feel like the fact that a lot of the people, from all the primaries we had so far voted for having a government run, healthcare system, Medicare for all, I think that gives us a lot of leverage. I mean, a lot of, a good reason, a good explanation of why we are where we are is because people maybe are not sort of well informed and they do sort of, listen to a lot of corporate media that kind of feeds them that idea that, oh, he's the safest bet. And they ended up going with that. And I think that's a lot of reasons why, a lot of people that voted for him sort of, voting for him for that because they view him as the safest bet. And the younger, crowd, those that were for Bernie, kind of are more sort of involved, and they're less likely to get their politics from, this main set of stream medias, like CNN or MSNBC or Fox or all this, different channels that are sort of like, they're, we are less likely to view them for the sake of viewing it. I, will watch a show every now and then, but I'm not getting my information from them. We read articles, we're on Twitter. We sort of see what's kind of happening on, outside of just the sort of peripheral, the vision that those, news mediums are giving us. And I feel like, let's be honest, Bernie was not well liked in that circle, because they view him as a threat and understandably so. He said it himself, you know what I mean? Like all these people that sort of, are owners of those corporations, will not have to wouldn't have had the best part of his presidency, and would have in all likelihood been sort of affected, and that's because for he was actually speaking to the necessity of this country is the working class people, and the fact that we need to build a movement that sort of tailors to that, that sort of unfortunately we didn't get the numbers out there that should have, because I mean, at the end of the day, us, at least, millennials and younger, from you talking about 40 to 50 or 30, 40 and 20 and all that sort of bracket of voting population that ended up going for him, didn't go for him for the numbers. Well, at least the numbers did not turn out as great, as big as we would have liked it. And I think that played that ended up being a reason why he didn't win the nominee. And it sucks because, like, I feel like in today's society, it's like, it's now it matters more than ever, with the fact that we have, a pandemic that, has us where we are right now with, what is it last time, like 20 million people have, fallen unemployment. And with the sort of approaching of climate change, it's like we are at a point of no return. And I think, we need to be active. We need to be aware, and you know what I mean, and push those people that are close to us that are not as involved and into voting. And I mean, of course there may be different routes to sort of get to power. I think for because of the ways things are structured, we are at a sort of disadvantage because we don't have the sort of vehicle to sort of allow our sort of voice to be the main, the sort of at a position to sort of get to everyone. So because we are working around, it's like this circus, of social media and things like that. It's like we have kind of this small group of people that we may be able to reach to, but we don't have the bigger platforms to get more people to sort of listen to, this message. And I think, because at the end of the day, this is a changing society, so those things may not be there 10, 20 years from now, because of we are our generation are one of those generations that sort of kind of going away from that, watching CNN, MSNBC, and I think I think that's a positive, because things are changing, and I feel like that's where maybe we can get Biden to like be like, hey, like you won the nominee, but you have these bracket, the 20s and 30s and 40s age people that are not, that didn't vote for you, that you didn't win at all. So what do you plan on doing there? And you can say like, oh, like who cares? I'm gonna go and govern, and win without them. Not likely, not likely. But like I said, so I feel like at this point, what we can do is it's push him, and I understand like he may come tomorrow and be like, hey, like I'm gonna implement this and that, and we have to be skeptics. That's just we have his records to sort of know how he'll likely govern, but we have to understand where we are today, and how can we get to where we need to be, and how. So yeah, like how we get to where we need to be, and I feel like it's unfortunate that we're having this conversation, with now Bernie no longer being a candidate in the race, no longer, and now having dropped out, endorsed Biden, and it sucks because we do understand the there was the powers of being that were working behind the scene. We know that Obama played a big role in sort of aligning these other Democrats behind him, at a point where it mattered the most. And we didn't have the same with the progressive movement. We didn't have that sort of same alignment with the progressives, and Elizabeth Warren, that didn't have viability, and still sort of remain. And I mean, like, we can have that conversation at another time of like, whether that puts into questions her progressive values. And I think it does for me. But I don't think right now is that time. Whenever that time comes to have that conversation, we will. And I plan on touching on that in other episodes. But like so like yeah, like I think like right now, this couple of weeks, we can sort of start kind of gravitating toward how do we get to where, how do we still work, it's all about restructuring ourselves and having to reassess of what we need to do to get to where we need to be, because at the end of the day, like I say, like our values do not change. Maybe the way we're kind of going about it may need to change. And, like I said, we're living in very strange times. And I mean, I'm not the one, we understand what's happening with, with the coronavirus. A lot of people are not working. A lot of people are working from home. And this, as awful and as bad as it might be, it can still be a vehicle, to get change to happen. And, it might sort of serve as that, because understanding now people are at home, we can get to, touch bases with those people, and they can sort of see how essential they are to the sort of maintaining of the current system, this sort of neoliberal capitalist system that we're under, and how, vulnerable that system is to, just this, how threatened it is right now by this particular virus. And we put those, we can sort of compare and contrast with other countries and how they're reacting and how their systems are, are more sort of tolerant to such crisis, and how this one, seems to kind of, the economy is taking a toll on it. But you put it in contrast with other nations in Europe per se, right? And how they are bearing with the situation, or how China would, bear with the situation now, coming in the other end with, the sort of decrease of cases, and so, yeah. So I just wanted to, talk about that, and like I said, I plan on making these videos at least, twice a week, and if you guys, enjoyed them, just make sure to like this video, and leave your comments below. And yeah, so like I said, this is the first one. I've just kind of sort of throwing it at you guys, and see where we are from here. And if you can subscribe to the channel, and I'll kind of sort of take it from there. And all right.